When I ran for office, I made several promises. I wanted to improve the quality of life by basically delivering on the basics. One of my slogans was make infrastructure sexy again, because I think infrastructure is so very important, and it's been neglected for so long in our city, and it's sort of the foundation for everything else that we do. But also things like housing, healthcare. We have a problem with hunger in this community. All those things, in addition to infrastructure, have been incredibly important and things that I said that I would address. Those are not just talking points to me. They're very important for us to address. And so I expect you to judge me not on the promises that we make, but on how much progress we make. And I think we have made considerable progress. Our COJ transparency dashboards are a way in which you can keep track of all that. One of the first things that we did, and we have Wanyoni Kendrick here from our ITD department who put together all those beautiful dashboards for you. You should be able to see everything that we see. Even the stuff that we don't like, we want you to be able to see what we see. So we want you to be able to see what progress are we making in areas like permitting and infrastructure and housing and service delivery and all those things. So there are dashboards on the city's website that take you meaningfully through all of those things. So you can see where we are and where we still need to improve. State of Jax, which is our new data initiative, really takes that a step further. It digs into the data in each and every neighborhood in our city and compares our city to other cities to see how we're comparing. How do we stack up? What neighborhoods are being underserved and what neighborhoods maybe don't need quite as much? That's what we're doing with this data, and it's been extraordinarily helpful so far. Want to talk a little bit about what has happened here in your neighborhood. And I know District 5 is a big area, a big slice, but $67.28 million has been invested in District 5 since I took office. $8.3 million in St. John's Park renovation, green space connections to residents along the river. $42.6 million on the LaSalle Street improvements, which hopefully are going to mitigate flooding, and also helps to connect people to green spaces. Improve travel and safety. I said that I got the wrong line there. $3.3 million on Fire Station 12. Obviously, it's incredibly important for us to expand our fire stations because we have such a large city. We have 850 square miles of city, and the more fire stations that we have, the safer people will be, but it also reduces your insurance costs. Because if you have a closer proximity to a fire station, that's going to cut your insurance costs. So we're very focused on that. $6.6 million in South Bank bulkhead replacements, protecting the riverfront from erosion and storm damage. These investments, as I said, mean fewer flooding events, and obviously we've had quite the issue with flooding in this area of town. Also, it creates just a more resilient city and better places for folks to gather. In terms of public safety, we have made that a huge priority. Obviously, that's job one for any mayor. Public health and safety, job number one. So that's about more than response times. It's about improving conditions. It's about reducing crime. And we decided to focus on where we were having a problem recruiting in our police and fire departments. We gave both of those departments well-deserved raises that they had not had in a long time. And we also went back to a defined benefit for them, a pension, that the previous administration had gone away from. And they said it's really hurt us in terms of recruiting. And so I think both entities would tell you they are recruiting much better, and we're getting up to speed and up to staff to make sure that we can keep our citizens as safe as we possibly can. And as you know, we've also made it a priority to have a chief health officer, and we've got a department that deals with health and wellness, because that's public safety too. So I feel very good about what we've been able to do with that. 1 in 5 children in Jacksonville face food insecurity. That's another thing that we have addressed through our health initiatives. Hunger follows kids into classrooms, and it really shapes every daily decision that a parent makes. And so it's a really important piece for us. We've invested $1.7 million in meals in elder care and food delivered to seniors and support for Feeding Northeast Florida, which we think is incredibly important. Our new State of the Food Plan is all about making sure that we are doing the best we can, especially in terms of folks who are interested in urban farming. We want to make sure that the people who are producing our food can actually get it to the places where it's needed. On affordable housing, that's really what we hear more about these days than just about anything in terms of what people want us to focus on. We do have an affordability crisis when it comes to housing, but since I have been in office, we have created 6,000 affordable units. They've been built or they've been approved and are in the process of being built. $2 million in down payment assistance, nearly 1,800 evictions that have been prevented. So obviously it's key to keep people in their homes while we're building the amount of housing that we need. It remains our biggest challenge. I think we're minus almost 50,000 affordable housing units. We're doing okay on market rate housing. But when it comes to entry-level housing for people that are taking, jobs as teachers and jobs that don't pay a larger salary at the very beginning, it's really tough for those folks to find entry-level housing. So we're focused very heavily on that. I talked a little bit about healthcare access. Nearly 200,000 residents are uninsured or underinsured. We've expanded access to care through our Get Covered Jax plan. We had a 34% increase in people that were able to receive insurance just by educating them and by providing advocates who could hold their hand through the process. It's a really big deal to have folks that are able to do that, and that's what we've been able to help people do. And also through our uninsured population, we've been able to connect them to video services that have helped them to stay out of the ER. That saves all of us money. That has saved millions of dollars. On literacy, it's another big initiative. Fewer than half of Jacksonville's third graders were reading at grade level. Those numbers are coming up dramatically. We're very, very proud of that. We launched River City Readers, and we just actually had a big celebration of this year's readers. Over 3 million minutes have been read in that program. The Gate Foundation, which is former Mayor Payton's foundation, has donated $1 million to make sure that every 4-year-old in the city has a book every month. And we're still encouraging people, kids and parents, to read 20 minutes a day so that they can become literate at a third grade level is so important. Up to third grade, you learn to read. After third grade, you read to learn. And if you don't flip that switch, it's very, very hard to be successful in life. In terms of small business, I set out a goal when I ran for office of saying we wanted to be the small business capital of the Southeast. There's a lot of barriers, or there were, to accessing capital and city contracts. We've been able to strengthen our Jacksonville Small and Emerging Business Office, giving $86 million in contracts awarded to small businesses in Jacksonville, and we've made it easier for smaller companies to get involved in contracts. 624 new contracts and 548 certified new JSEBs in Jacksonville, because this department has done such an amazing job of providing training and direction and resources. I'll go back to infrastructure just for a moment. We're growing like crazy. We have about 17,000 new people that come into Jacksonville every single year. 17,000 into our city every year. And that can be great. But it can also not be great if we don't keep up. And I talk about that all the time. We spend probably less per citizen. We do spend less per citizen than most cities that are our size. And we've got more citizens moving in every day. So when you hear about the size of government, we have been able to keep the size of our city government steady, except for public safety, which of course we've had to grow some. Because we have an 850 square mile area to cover, but also we just believe that we can create lean processes in the city to keep our costs down while we're hopefully investing in those things that'll bring us the greatest return, so that we can keep taxes low and make sure that our citizens get what they need. That's the goal of everything. So our investment in underserved neighborhoods, that's not this district in particular, but 7, 8, 9, and 10. We moved the capital improvement projects for those areas because they've been neglected for so long to the top of the list, and we have increased our spending in those underserved areas on infrastructure from $15 million to $100 million. I don't believe that you can right the ship if half of it is listing. So you got to make sure that we bring those neighborhoods up. As far as parks and public places, parks I think are just essential to our health. Obviously great for neighborhood pride, quality of life. We want people to move. We want them to be outside and enjoy our beautiful parks. We, as you know, have the largest urban park system in the U.S., and we've spent a particular amount of time recently in opening our new riverfront parks, which have frankly attracted tens of thousands of people just in the few short months they've been there. They're incredibly popular, and families are really enjoying them, so I'm very happy about that. So what's next? Well, real progress has been made, but more housing is in the pipeline. We've got expanded health access, food reaching more families, infrastructure investment in overlooked neighborhoods, but families are still feeling the pressure. National challenges, obviously we can't do a whole lot about that except for try to make sure that Jacksonville does the best things that we can do for our community. We can't control Washington or Tallahassee, and I wish we could. A lot of y'all bring things to me that you say, why can't you do this? Well, I don't, I'm not queen of the universe, but I do try to do the right things for Jacksonville, but I don't control what happens in Washington and in Tallahassee. But we are going to continue to fight for affordable housing, accessible health care, nutritious food, infrastructure that keeps pace, and long overdue neighborhood investment. What I would like for you to do, and some of you tonight are here just for this reason, is to stay engaged. I'm here to listen. I want to hear what's important to you. I will say one thing, though, in terms of if you're here to talk about a particular personal issue that you're having, say you have an issue with your home or a particular, whatever it is that's personal to you, that it's not a larger issue for the city, I would love for you. I know I always point out Melissa. I don't know where she is. She's probably still doing the slides for me. Yeah, she's back there. But get Melissa's card, get in touch, and let us meet with you individually to see if we can solve your problem. If it's a problem that you think the city needs to focus on budget-wise, or a systemic problem, or whatever it is, we love to address that. And we're very interested in your individual problems. It's just we probably can't solve them here tonight. Does that make sense? I hope so. So all I would ask you to do is stay engaged. And those of you who are here, I'm preaching to the choir. We're going to continue to move Jacksonville forward in the best ways that we can, and I'm anxious to hear your feedback for what we can do better or what you'd like to see us include in the budget, because we are right now starting to put our budget together that will be presented later in the year in the summer. So that would be a wonderful thing to be able to hear. And I have to say, so far, I've been extraordinarily pleased with how many ideas and suggestions that people have brought to the table. It's really helpful to me. I would rather be out here every day of the week than sitting in my office listening to my echo chamber, although I love my echo chamber. I love to be out here listening to you guys so I can hear what's actually going on in the community. So I'm going to go. I'm a little gimpy. I had a little injury to my tendon, which I got a lovely shot in the other day, so I'm sort of hobbling. I'm going to go sit in this chair instead of standing up here all night. But don't let that make you feel sorry for me. Just go ahead and beat me up if you got to. It's all good. Anybody want to head to the microphone?
Hi there, Byron Jones here.
Hi, Byron.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming out. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you coming out.
Okay, my concern that it really deeply troubles me is the amount of the traffic fatalities. We're at 42, I think, the last count. That's like 5 a week. And is there a way that can be addressed? More law enforcement, increased fines, cameras? It just really bothers me. And as a community, we should be outraged. Something's got to change here. I was talking to Rich Jones on the radio the other day. I do a monthly, discussion with him on OKV, and I told him that particular topic, not fatalities as much as the speeding along the road so much, has been
has been, well, yeah, they do, has been the probably most consistent comment in these town halls. People are so frustrated with the amount of speeding. And I'll tell you, I was in our planning department yesterday, and they were showing me a lot of the plans of the things that we're doing. Some of the things are as simple as, our road diet projects that we have going on. The idea behind a road diet, and I know it sounds funny, I wish there was a different term, because it sounds, I don't know, it sounds weird. But at the end of the day, the idea behind that is to encourage more people to get on, on their bikes and on their feet, and to have buffers that will slow the traffic down and allow people to spend more time, not having the Daytona 500, racing by them. But beyond that, I think Nina was talking last week about traffic studies that we're doing that will also help us to do a better job with that. In terms of enforcement, I think the problem is you can't have police everywhere all the time. And there's not enough police to have people on everybody's street where they're speeding. And as soon as they go away, people start to speed again, right? So I think, I'm not saying better enforcement. I think they're doing what they can. But I think we have to address it, to me, with some of the other things that we're talking about. But we can, through these studies where we can find out where are the biggest problems, we can figure out where do we need to create more mitigating factors along those streets. Is there something that we can put there that would make people slow down? Do we need more crosswalks? Do we need more, whatever it is? There's a million things you can do. Of course, if it's a neighborhood street, you have to get permission from the neighbors to do certain things like speed bumps. But I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer to this. No, but I will say this. I do believe, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that fatalities are down. Are they not? I think fatalities, yes, they are. Because I looked into this yesterday when I was over at the planning department. Our fatalities are down over what they have been, and I think we were one of the worst in the nation for that. And those numbers have dropped because of some of the mitigating factors that we have that we've put in place. But it's not an easy problem to solve. I even had somebody that wrote into me and said, "Can't you develop a track where people can just go run their cars around the track so that they can get it out of their system?" And it's not a bad idea, really. I don't know that it would solve the problem, but I do think it is going to take a multi-pronged approach, and not just the enforcement issues. I think the police are doing everything they can. It's awful. I agree.
The thing is, if you increase fines, I don't know how that can be done. People don't like that, but if you had a major fine for running red lights, you hit them in the pocketbook. The cameras could be a deterrent even if they don't work.
Yeah, that's true. It's just we have 850 square miles of that stuff, and the thing is, I really this is why you always hear me talk a lot about creating these, walkable communities where we can create more neighborhoods. This is why I always talk about planning. When we need to create more neighborhoods where people don't have to get in their cars, where they have the amenities all right there, where you can walk to the store or walk to the restaurant or whatever it is, walk to school, so that there's not always this fear of being out in massive traffic. And that's why I'm a fan of the road diets too. I just think it makes sense to create those. We have such a big city. You're not going to solve the problem with one fell swoop, but you can create better planning to where people are off those roads. And I think, obviously we'll continue to address this in as many ways as we possibly can. But I know it is a big concern and a big issue, but I do believe we are moving in the right direction when it comes to the fatalities. And I think that's a combination of enforcement and a number of different initiatives that we have. So
it saves on TV, mass media works.
Absolutely. No, that's true. That's true.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. I hear it so much.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi there. My name is Tommy Ray. I live in the 32216 area code.
Hi, Tommy Ray.
And I would like to say I love your literacy program. I used to work at the Poplar Creek Library before I had my daughter, and we were so thrilled to have you come through and be promoting. And Beanstack was such a great way to get the kids engaged.
Yes.
I was working in the children's department. And to that extent, I would love to see more funding for the library. I remember how stretched thin we've been for the past few summers, trying to make the program as engaging and rewarding for those kids as we can. Really, like, just pulling things out of the back room to get them excited. So I'd love to get more funding for those programs and just in general for the library, because unfortunately we did have quite a bit of turnover rate because the pay was not that great, especially for a job that requires a master's degree to do. And
well, listen, I can tell you the River City Readers Initiative and the Bookmobile has increased our traffic in our libraries quite significantly, and our amount of library cards. People are going to our libraries more, and it is wonderful. I agree with you. Look, I wish I had more money to give to so many wonderful things, but I will tell you that I do think with this piece we've had so much great partnership. Is the Lucy Gooding Foundation is the foundation that helped us, right, with the Bookmobile? Yeah, and we take that all over the city, and kids get so excited about reading. I think it's the educational initiatives. I will tell you that a challenge we've had this year, and we'll have to figure out a way to deal with it next year, is that the state decided that they didn't want to use Beanstack anymore because there was some discussion about whether they liked Beanstack or not. For a variety of reasons. And so Duval County Public Schools has decided they don't want to use Beanstack anymore, but it's the app that we've been using for the kids to read. So we'll have to come up with, because we supersize this whole effort when we partner with Duval County Schools. So we're going to do our best to come up with a solution for that as we're doing all these other things. But I do think the engagement from the private sector, while the city of Jacksonville doesn't have the capacity to give as much money as we like to give to some of those initiatives, the private sector has really come in and helped us with that. So I so appreciate your comments, and I'm with you 1,000%. I don't think there's one initiative that will bear more fruit for us in the future than our literacy initiative. We'll create successful young people.
Oh, definitely. And a few other things I'd love to see, just in general, are parks. Because as a new mom, I'm taking my baby on walks through different parks. I'd love to hit up every park I can in Duval County.
Have you been to the downtown parks yet?
Not yet, but they look absolutely beautiful.
You gotta go. Yeah.
Some of the older ones, they could use a little love, maybe some new trash cans, maybe just a little scrubbing of the signs, because there are like educational things like, oh, jump on the letters, but the letters are so old you can't even see them on the sidewalk over. And that was at Forest Tower Park right there on Beach Boulevard.
Okay.
And I love the one, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it's way up there past JU, way up there. And that's such a beautiful park, but it has the exercise equipment you can do along the path. But half of the signs are spray painted over or broken, so you can't tell what the exercise is to do for these lovely things that are there. So if we could just see like some energy and time spent to revamp the parks in general, I'd love to see that. And then last idea I have, I feel like I see a lot of abandoned buildings just sitting around. So I'd love if there was some sort of like tax incentive for businesses to take over existing structures rather than tearing down more trees to build the 90th Dunkin' Donuts on Beach Boulevard. So just, it's for real, there's too many Dunkin' Donuts.
We absolutely agree with that. I love that idea. Yes. Okay. We don't need a 90th anything on Beach Boulevard.
Tearing down trees to do it, but yeah. And then who would I see about getting a speed bump on my road?
Well, that's the thing. I think, what is the number? Who's Nina? What is it? 70% that you have to get? What is the what?
25% of your neighbors. Okay. Perfect. Okay.
Go grab Nina's card, and she'll help you with that. So what you would have to do is you would have to get 75% of your neighbors to want those speed bumps.
Okay.
And so I think you can do it. You seem like a very energetic young woman.
I appreciate it.
And I'd bring the baby with you too, because nobody can resist a baby. So.
Perfect. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments and your energy. Thank you. Okay.
Mayor Deegan, thanks for the floor. Robert Jeffers here.
Thank you, Robert.
One of my concerns is the parking around Jacksonville. We're building everything up, and I realize that parking goes back into city funding to help us fund other projects, right? I understand that. Recently, I was downtown, I had to go to the courthouse, and the parking lot, that crappy parking lot across from the courthouse at Adams and Clay, I went up there to pay, and it was $40, and I literally had to run in for 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's ridiculous. I don't know who
I don't disagree with that.
I don't know who governs or controls some of this parking, but when you're, like the World of Nations, people are coming in and they're charging you $20 to park here and there and there. Like, that's discouraging to come downtown and not have nowhere to park and then have to pay $40 to park somewhere to walk around.
I know there is discussion about dropping the price on the, what is the one that's adjacent to City Hall where people have to come in for the council meetings? Ed Ball? Yeah, I think because that one is another one that if you're there, for several hours, it's like $60. So I believe I was speaking to Colin Tarbert from the DIA this afternoon, and he was saying that they are going to drop that. I don't know if it's just that particular garage, but I agree. There's got to be some.
Who controls that? Who controls the fees and fines?
Yeah, DIA is the one that does that. Downtown Investment Authority. So.
There is a current study going on about circulation and parking for events. Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Don't make me get in front of the mic. I'll be there all night. Okay.
Right, Downtown Investment Authority manages downtown parking. There is currently a study going on about circulation and parking for events, and so we'd want your input, and I can give you my card, and you can I can give you some information about what's going on with those evaluations.
Hey, good
Hello.
evening. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mayor. My name's Terry Bork, and I have two issues to address. And I was also actually going to talk about parking around the courthouse. One thing I've noticed is kind of near the courthouse, maybe within 3 blocks, there used to be some black parking meters that were 25 cents an hour, and now those are gone. And those were great for people who don't have a lot of money who have to come to courthouse. They don't want to be there, but they have to come. And if nothing like that's going to be restored, make sure that the parking near the courthouse is able to take credit cards, bills, and coins, because there's a lot of people who don't have credit cards, and then people who show up who have to be parking near the courthouse to be there for some reason. Well, they need, they might just have coins, and that needs to be there in whatever.
I'm going to admit to not being an expert on what the meters look like. Does anybody know if that's a plan?
There are two kinds. There's one of those with the central location.
Yeah. You're saying all those are gone? Is that what you're saying?
And then there are some others that are the regular parking meters that you use a credit card to put coins in. And I'm not sure if the other one takes coins or not, but.
It's all digital? Okay. Did you say something? Okay.
But I know those black meters were actually moved once the old courthouse closed, because they used to be kind of near there. People would know to tell their clients, if that's a problem for you, park 3 or 4 blocks away, and you can use those 25-cent for an hour meters, and now they're not there anymore. That'd be nice if it could return.
Okay, I'll check on it.
And the other thing is, are you going to sign that ordinance that allows us bars to stay open to 3 a.m.? Because I don't know about anybody else here. I'd like to get a beer this weekend at 2:40 a.m.
Look, I think that if there is an area of town where that makes sense, it's downtown. That we want a vibrant nightlife downtown. I know it creates other issues, but I do think it probably makes sense to do that downtown.
Okay, good. And if anyone's out, I'll buy you a beer this weekend downtown. If you Dos Gasos 240. Okay.
Is somebody over here? Oh, yeah. Hello, John Nooney. How are you?
Good. Hello, Mayor Deegan. And And for everybody, well, my name's John J. Nooney, Jacksonville City Council Resolution 2023-0819. You know, if you want to chuckle, look that one up. But I'm in City Council District 4, CPAC, Planning District 3, School Board District 3. And what I want to share with you, you know, I just came, I was at the Mayor's Disability Council. And, you know, in the minutes, it had, you know, the joint meeting with the Jacksonville City Council and the Duval County Public Schools. The legislation was 2025-0867, and that's for capital improvement projects, our CIP. I like to call that classrooms in Pottsburg. And then underneath here, and these are the minutes from the Mayor's Disability Council. And Parks Department, Darrell Joseph, Jill Enns, Brian Burkett, and our Waterways Commission put 3 properties on the potential acquisition list. It happened just a year ago, and the legislation is 2025-0019. Now, that's our ad valorem property tax money. It's fined. It's the east coast of the state of Florida. It's millions and millions of dollars, year after year after year. It's not new. And so I just left a speaker card, and if you go, and I went, the land use and zoning is taking place right now. In ordinance 2026-0091, it's a modification to the city's 2045 comp plan for the purpose of updating the 5-year capital improvement schedule of projects within the capital improvements element, Rheingold, request of the mayor. And so they'll be voting on that. Now, the reason, you know, that I'm here is, you know, it's a quality of life issue for this entire city. And I've been telling people say, Nooney, you know, we're getting all this public access. I tell them, no, we're not. We're getting crushed. And there is an opportunity for public access on our waterways. And let me just say, you know, with that joint meeting of the Duval County Public Schools and the City Council was November 6th. So no, December, 3 months ago. And so here's the legislation. And so where I'm going with it is, my school board rep is Cindy Pearson. And she's always said to me, Nooney, you know, your place, it'd be great for field trips. I thought, man, that's brilliant. There are 7 school board districts. Now, going forward, we have charter and public schools. And so the opportunity for School Board District 3 with a CIP, because this is legislation, it's real, is a potential benefit and a quality of life game changer. Now, here is the Northeast Florida Regional Council. This is 7 counties. You know, I'm going to them. And Mayor, and this is the one that's kind of crushing. But here's the Resilient Jacksonville thing. And here's Duval County Public Schools when I went and talked to them. And Mayor, you know, I would love for anyone from your administration to get with me. No one has seen this. And so where I'm going with it is, you know, the biggest takeaway out of this report was that 90% of our waterways in Duval County is private. Only 10% is public. So going forward, and here's another piece, you know, I'm wearing this hat, FWC. It's a playoff with Ken Amaro. His legislation is 2026-0004. It's created a trust fund for parks. They talked about it at the Mayor's Disability Council just a couple hours ago. And here's the kicker. We're marketing really to the world. So FWC, it's a play off the Fish Wildlife Commission. It's the state of Florida. Fishing with council. Fishing with council. Fishing with, I mean, I can go on and on.
We know you can, John, but I hope you'll wrap it up. There we go.
I will wrap it up. Okay. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with everybody that's here. We will be donating this thing, to the city at some point, and we are marketing like you have no idea to the world. So FWC, we're going to have the Fish Wilson Classic, and that's Scott Wilson. He's and he's the one. But anyway, yeah.
Thank you, John. We appreciate the point. John comes, for those of you who don't know John, now probably everybody does, he comes to every meeting, I mean literally every meeting. All the council meetings, he goes to all the committee meetings, he goes to all of my meetings, and I appreciate that. He's very involved, and this is his issue. He wants more access to our river, and I appreciate that. I love that you bring, but I would respectfully say that I do think we're making progress there. I know not as much as you would like. The entire city is water, John. The entire 850 square miles is pretty much water. So to say that 90% of it is private is, I think that's misleading. But we have created more public access along the riverfront in the places where more people are, certainly. But always open to your comments and appreciate it. And I think it's a point well taken. So thank you for being here. Who's next? This side or this? Who wants to go? Are you?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Going again, Robert Jeffers.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if there's any representation from JEA here, but I was wondering, our initial millions and millions of dollars that we invested in Plant Vogel, and everybody knows that project went for years overdue. Are we starting to see, because that plant's commissioned now, are we starting to see any investment or return for that, or how's that going? Do we have anybody that can speak on that? Because Jacksonville's taxpayers poured billions of dollars into that project, and I'd like to know what our rate of return is on that.
I don't think that we have anybody here from JEA tonight. I don't think anybody is here from JEA. It seems like, is there any news on that? Is there any news on Plant Vogel?
We're getting power from it.
Yeah.
It is finally operating.
That's what I was thinking.
It's not cost effective, but we are getting energy from it.
So my thing is at what point is the city of Jacksonville going to get a return on our investment for a project that we poured millions of dollars in that went years overdue? And now, I will say that the city of Jacksonville per capita is way less than other majority cities when it comes to JEA bills. But some JEA bills are outrageous. I mean, there's people that are on payment plans for JEA that'll never pay their bills off. But I'm just wondering when, we're investing all this money from ratepayers and taxpayers into something that's for a Southern company that's not even JEA, when are we going to reap the benefits from that for the city of Jacksonville? I'm just wondering there. If we've got any contacts, I'd like to get in contact with somebody to speak about it.
Well, we normally would have somebody from JEA here, but I guess we do not have anybody here tonight. But I certainly understand your frustration. I would say that, and I appreciate you bringing up the point that, and look, when you get your JEA bills, that includes also water and sewer. That's not true of most other utilities. You're just getting the power bill. So yeah, we'll absolutely get somebody in contact with you, for sure. I know that, look, I know there are a number of different frustrations there. And obviously, again, it's an affordability issue. But I will say that I do think there have been some challenges for JEA. Certainly, the Plant Vogel is an entirely separate issue. But I think the fact that you have seen, the tariffs that have caused problems in terms of solar activity. I think the fact that the tax credits are going away. Other forms of, obviously, I would like to see us have a more diversified grid. And I think that would be cost effective. But it's a challenge right now given the fact that there are restrictions in the state and there are prohibitions nationally on certain things that used to be, frankly, incentivized. So I think when you're JEA, you're trying to look at what do I put together that will be affordable for people, because people aren't going to be happy if their bills skyrocket because you're trying to do all these different things. But at the same time, I know we have a whole new solar project that's going to come online. But I would love to see all that move faster. As far as Plant Vogel goes, I'm not exactly sure what to tell you in terms of the profitability of that. But it seems like I remembered we were going to hear something about that last week. That's why I asked. I thought there was something new going on with that, but I don't. Without somebody from JEA here, I don't know. I'm not sure how to answer it.
A very long-term contract that I think JEA would agree has not been to our best interest for many, 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 many years to come.
Yeah, but I think there's something new with that, Mike. I really do. But we'll find out. We'll find out and get you connected. We'll find out and get you connected. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
All right. Nick Harding, Editor-in-Chief, Duval Tribune, Jacksonville 32207 is my zip code. So this is a budget town hall, so I got two things, but the first thing is going to be budget. I think the biggest ask that I have for the budget is just to cut out human resources completely. They are a parasitic, like in any organization. Nothing specifically about Jacksonville, but they're a parasitic department in any organization.
I hope we don't have anybody here from Human Resources. I'm not sure they would appreciate that remark, but go ahead.
But because the hiring process for the city of Jacksonville is just, because of them, it is overcomplicated. It takes way too long. Somebody will apply for a job, and from the time they apply to getting interviewed, probably a minimum of 2 weeks. That might be a hiring manager thing, but from getting hired to actually starting can take upwards of a month, because human resources has all these little nitpicky things they like to do. And again, it's just true across every human resources department I've ever interacted with. They're useless. They're unproductive. No offense if you're from human resources in here, but
And why would you take offense to being called parasitic?
But I mean, obviously you're not going to get rid of it, but the actual ask that I have is that you work to, find some way to speed up the hiring process, and not just the hiring process, but the payment, review process also. I know that, the cop-out that a lot of, I don't know what else to call you guys, boomer politicians like to use is, it's up to the unions. It's a union negotiation thing, it's up to the unions. Well, no,
He's got love for all of us tonight.
But I think that, as much as people love to say that you're, a radical leftist, okay, if you're a radical leftist, why are there full-time city employees making $14 an hour? I mean,
Well, first of all, I would certainly not describe myself that way.
I'm just going based on what I read, all right? Not in the Tribune. In the Tribune, our articles are a little bit more nuanced.
But look, if you know anything about me or anything that I've done since I have been, and I probably put way too much pressure on people in this regard, is that I am all about speed. Because I think when things take too long, they fall apart. And I also don't think that's efficient, and time is money. So we have tried to speed up so many different processes, so many review processes, permitting for one. But it's not perfect. You come in and you basically, what I've done is I've tried to turn the Titanic. And I think we've done that to a certain extent with a number of different processes. But government is in and of itself just, it's cumbersome. That's it is a slow moving machine.
No, I know.
And so the fact that we've been able to speed up these certain processes that have always been slow, if you know how I've done anything, that is we even have Melissa will tell you, she's in charge of what we call our chop list. So stuff that has to get done, and she stays on people 24/7 to make sure that it gets done on time. Because with city government, that rarely happens. But I take your point. I don't share your disdain for human resources, but I will say that I do think things take too long. I do agree with you. I think processes take too long. And I think some of that, honestly, is because in what you hear over and over again is, well, that's how we've always done it. And so I've sort of banned that phrase in the office. It's like, nobody can say that. I don't like that. I don't care. It's not a good reason to keep doing things that way. So we're working on that. But this is the first complaint that I've heard about the hiring process, but I'll certainly take a look at it.
Well, yeah, and I also mentioned the salary thing, because if you look, a couple years ago, Jacksonville Beach, they actually commissioned a study that I'm sure they paid way too much money for, but they adjusted all of their pay bands and all their pay for all their city workers, and they did it all at the same time, because, if you look at any city government, you've got a lot of people like, well, when I started, I was making $6 an hour. Cool. Well, the minimum wage is 14 now, so, maybe we do something like that in Jacksonville. I'm sure there's a million city employees who are dedicated to like research and, could actually, execute this without spending however many hundreds of thousands of dollars that Jacksonville Beach did. And then the second issue I think that I had, it's not issue, I don't know, but it's the board appointments. It's not just the
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The second issue I have is the board appointments.
Okay.
Not just with you, but like JEA and JTA are they're terrible, They're terrible organizations. They've got terrible board members, and I know you appoint half of JTA, and the governor appoints, I think, 4 members, and it's a true show of bipartisanship that both of you appointed terrible members. I mean,
Again, we can't really agree on that, but I don't think they're terrible organizations. I would love to hear your reasoning for those comments. If you're going to say that, then give me reasons for why you're making those comments. Okay, why are they terrible boards? Why are they terrible board members?
Okay, so part of what I do is I do research about voting records for board members and non-traditional public officials. And what I've noticed is that JTA, JEA, and actually every board across the city, nobody ever votes no on anything ever. And then
that's just not true. I mean,
I
can
have
just
the
tell
right
you,
records.
it's just not. Look, I will tell you this about the board members. When I came into office, I was very frustrated with the fact that most of our boards were sort of just, people appointed friends, or they appointed people that they wanted to, impress or whatever. And they were not boards that were activated very much. There's a lot of city boards. Now, JTA and JEA are very important boards. But I elevated that position of boards and commissions and brought in Garrett Dennis to make sure that we were vetting people and putting people on those boards that really wanted to do the work and wanted to be there. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that. I'm not saying it's been perfect, but I think we have far more activated boards, people that are actually doing the work and spending the time on the work than we've had in a very, very long time, if ever, in this city. I've been very intentional about trying to put people on those boards that would work. And you know what? When they don't stay very long. So, you
mentioned that. So what was the reason for the removal of Megan Hayward from JTA?
The reason for her, well, I don't look at it as her removal. I put Elaine Brown on that board because I wanted to put Elaine Brown on the board. That's why I put her on the board.
But it seems the timing was just it was.
It had nothing to do with any timing of anything. It wasn't about a timing thing. It was about wanting to put Elaine on the board, and that was a discussion that I had with Elaine. She's an expert. She is a very knowledgeable person to have on that board, and I wanted her on the board, and so I put her there. Nobody that's ever replaced on a board, if they wanted to stay on that board, is going to be happy about it, and I'm sure you'll hear about that. But at the end of the day, look, the governor has more appointments on that board than I do. Whatever the governor wants is what's going to happen on that board. Be clear, okay? So I'm trying to put people on that board that have a great knowledge of transportation and also want to move our city forward. And so it is. To insinuate that somehow I was going to influence the future of JTA by changing a board member, it's not true. I'm just trying to put the best people on those boards that I possibly can.
That wasn't the insinuation. It was just that Between you and the governor, I know you got, the governor, from what I've seen from him, he pretty much only appoints donors and people who work for his donors. I mean,
I don't know that to be true at all, I'm just saying that because DOT is involved with JTA, that there's an extra board member for that purpose. And he appoints that board member. And so at the end of the day, that's the power balance. So I just try to appoint people on every board that I appoint that want to do the work, and frankly, people who I believe's visions are aligned with what's best for Jacksonville, like mine. I do not put people on boards for political reasons. That is not something that I do. You can look at my staff and see that it's all over the map in terms of Democrats, Republicans, Independents. I've done the same thing with board members.
I think you got a Whig party member with a Weinstein, too.
What's that?
I think you even got a Whig party member with Weinstein.
Wave?
Whig.
Oh, Whig. Oh, that's funny. Okay. But no, I mean, I do the best that I can, and sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss,
Right. And so the issue I have with JTA is that the CEO, Nat Ford, I think he's a very good CEO if we had a transportation system that was where it needs to be. I think he'd be very good at maintaining that. But where we are right now is he's been here 13, 14 years. When he came in, we needed a visionary. I mean, obviously this has nothing to do with you, but this is something you could probably, point members to lead the charge on trying to correct. But if we had a CEO who came in as a visionary and said, look, we need to take this Skyway thing and either we need to shut it down or we need to convert it into a light rail system so that people are getting some sort of use out of it. I think if you had board members who were saying, look, what are we doing with this? Why are you trying to, do this autonomous vehicle thing, that's going to go for 10 miles and cost half the city budget, every year. Well, not every year, but you know what I mean. And, if you had board members out there who were willing to, challenge him publicly, because again, you disagree, but I have 10 years of meeting minutes that I've analyzed, and there's a single-digit number of no votes, across all appointees. On JTA specifically.
I will take your word that you've looked at meeting minutes. And again, I'm afraid, and look, I'm here to listen to you, and I'm taking your feedback, and I'll take a look at it. I promise you I will. But I will say to you that, to me, if you look at all the people that have tried to hire him away and all the successes that he's had previously, I think that Nat Ford is a visionary. And I do believe that autonomous vehicles will be a big part of our future. And I love the fact that Jacksonville is leading on that front. And I know a lot of people disagree with that. Councilman Peluso was here earlier, and I'm glad he's left because he'd probably stand up and agree with everything you said. But see, I'm a yes and person. We are also, and Nina can tell you, we are also looking at rail very, very, very strongly. We had Brightline in here a year or a year and a half ago, and they told us, you're not there yet. You're not there yet. We need to see more activity of building downtown. You need more places to eat, more places to live. You need more activity downtown before we're going to be interested in bringing Brightline. But we are talking about Amtrak, right? And so these are all things that are in the pipeline. That doesn't negate the autonomous vehicle stuff for the downtown or wherever we decide to program those vehicles. And the truth is, it helped us to attract an international company that is going to bring more than $1 billion into our community and ship autonomous vehicles all over the world. We get to be a leader in that space. So what you're never going to hear from me is because nobody else has done it, we shouldn't do it. The Atlanta mayor came down here, viewed our system, and immediately went back to Atlanta and said, I want to do this. We had people from Japan, people from all over the country that have come down to look at this system. Why? I feel like sometimes, and I will say, you're, and I think you know that you're hyperbolic on a lot of things, and so we'll agree on that, right? But at the end of the day, I want to see Jacksonville lead, and I do believe that's where things are going to go, and so I'm happy to see us leading on that front, and I think I've spent 30 years in the media. I love my friends in the media, but to come out after the thing's been online for a few weeks and go, well, that was obviously a failure. Nobody's riding the thing yet. Come on. You know, we are a car community. Everybody in this city wants to get in their car and drive up to the front of wherever they're going and park their car. Well, guess what? That is not the future of this city. I hate to tell you that, but that is not the future. It's too crowded. It's too much. It puts too many cars on our roads. And there's unnecessarily. And with a city growing like ours, that can't be the future. So I think we need light rail. And I think we also need autonomous vehicles, and I'm happy to support both of those things. As far as the Skyway goes, I think we got ourselves in a sticky place with that because of the fact that we'd have to pay $100 million back to the government should we do something with the Skyway. I personally hope we can make use of the Skyway, and I think if you look at some of the things that are going up downtown, like the Pearl Square area. I think they're looking at that as something they think will be a great part of that whole development. So let's be a little bit, I may be wrong. And you will be the first person that can come to my town hall meetings and say, Mayor, see, I told you, fine. But let's give it a fair shot. Let's give it a fair shot. We've invested the money. Let's give it a fair shot and see if we can change some behaviors in Jacksonville long term. Young people, and I know you're young, I'm hopeful they're all going to come downtown and live and work and play, and we'll have the ability to get them around without getting in their car all the time. So.
I think I did the shit sandwich method wrong because now I've got like a more positive thing. But basically, so I just got appointed to the Health Facilities Authority, and basically, a quick summary of that is that we are trying to finance hospital development in underserved areas of town.
Wonderful.
Specifically, my specific target areas are going to be out by Cecil, near Baldwin, Maxville, that area.
Okay.
Down by Nocatee, and also north and northwest Jacksonville, because we're developing out there, but there's actually a shortage of full-service health facilities for people who live out there. They have to drive all the way downtown if they want to go to a full hospital. So I'm hoping to, be able to work with, your administration, on, attracting, UF, Baptist, Mayo, whoever else, to, kind of start these projects.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Despite all the mean things you said to me tonight, I will certainly consider doing that. And we would love to connect you with Sunil and Lynn, who I'm sure would be happy to talk to you in terms of all that. So, thank you very much. Anybody over here? Nope. Yes. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Good. How are
What's
you?
your name?
Chuck Day.
Chuck Day?
Chuck. CHUCK.
Oh, thank you.
32207, where I'm from.
Very nice.
And you kind of already answered what I wanted to talk about, which was public transportation. I feel like it's pretty essential for getting cars off of the road, so I just sort of wanted to know kind of what's going on for future developments. And, this Skyway, I'm pretty new to Jacksonville, so I don't totally know all the history of it. But
Where are you from?
I'm from Seattle.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yes.
welcome to Jacksonville. You moved
you.
all the way across the country.
Yes.
Did you come for a job, or what brought you to town?
I came for love.
Oh, she came for
My
love.
wonderful partner.
We're the city of love. I like that. Okay. I'm already happy. Go ahead.
Yes, I love the Skyway, and I just kind of wish it was open on weekends. I feel like there is a lot of foot traffic on weekends, and I feel like it'd be a good resource to be able to use to get to downtown and back and wherever.
And that is exactly the process that we're going through right now.
Yay,
So
I'd love to hear it.
so I think there's a study that's going on right now to see the best use. But the plan was, and I still am hopeful about this plan, is that we will add more cars, and we'll repurpose the Skyway. But it is I think I don't remember what days it doesn't run. Besides, is it just the weekends it doesn't run? Mm-hmm. Just the weekends, yeah. But I think there's only 2 cars right now.
Yeah.
But the ridership is still pretty good, guys.
Yeah.
And we need to do better with our bus routes. We need to do better with our public bus routes, for sure, which we've had many discussions with JTA about. We have faith that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So, but thank you. See, she likes the Skyway. Take somebody from out of town, I'm telling you. We're always the naysayers when it's our own place. It's just how it is. It's just how we are. It's human nature.
I will say one thing I would love to see also with the Skyways is having the stations get a little bit more maintenance love. If it's a little dark out,
Yes.
the lighting's not great, it feels maybe a little bit dangerous to someone who's out alone by themselves.
So
love
more
to just
lights,
see
is that what you're saying?
More
More
lights,
lights?
maybe a little more like trash cleanup,
Okay,
that kind of thing.
got it.
I would
Well,
love
I will
to see that.
I promise you I will pass that along.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for moving from Seattle. We appreciate having you here. I hope the whole love thing works out for you.
Yes, it's going great.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I think there's going to be a public hearing, right? Aren't there going to be public?
Yes, the JTA is actually holding a series of public meetings right now on the Skyway, and they have, I think, I want to say like 5 or 6 different possibilities for it. And they're doing a study on that, but they're also seeking public input. So you should check that out on their website. Yeah, great. Okay. Oh, come on, Noonie.
Real quick, no, I just wanted to weigh in on, boards and commissions, and share with all of you, 2017 160, that's public participation. That was the legislation that created the ability for anyone to address in a board or a commission, before a vote is taken. And that has been taken away in the Jacksonville City Council committee process. And so, and the reason I know this, because like I said, I'm taking this show on the road. I was in St. Johns County 6
He's
times
not
last
kidding.
year.
He's everywhere.
And so, but here's the concern, and David Bauerlein, I shared this with him and a whole bunch of guys yesterday at that JEA leadership meeting. Show up at the True Commission tomorrow. It's at 4 o'clock. And they want to take away free speech. It is the most scariest thing. And, just do not allow that to happen. And
Well, that's not up to me, right?
Well,
No, it is not up to me what council
okay,
does with their
okay,
committees. No.
Okay, but at the same time, anybody can watch these meetings. And just remember, there's 67 counties in the state of Florida, and I am personally witnessing and watching this. So anyway, I just, with boards and commissions, I just wanted to throw that out there.
I appreciate that, John, and I think that's an important thing for people to know. But I would like to point out that the reason that I'm here, listening to you talk twice to me in one evening for a relatively long period of time, is because I let people talk because I want to hear and I want to listen and I want to learn. So I can't do anything about council procedures. But what I can do is tell you that I will always continue to have these meetings, and I'll continue to be out here, and I'll continue to listen to you. And so I hope that you'll give me a little bit of credit for that. But I can't do anything about what City Council does. You'll have to go take that up with them at some point, okay? Yes. Who else? We got somebody over here? Anybody else?
Yeah, just a quick comment. You
Okay.
said you wanted young people to move downtown. Let the bars stay open at 3 a.m. They'll move downtown.
As I said, I am inclined to do that. I am inclined to do that. That will be hours after I have turned in, but I am inclined to do that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to ask an infrastructure-specific question.
Okay.
As a commuter myself, does San Jose Boulevard, having bike lanes since 2014, is it going to have protected bike lanes, whether that's green lighting, daylighting intersections, or adding a barrier or adding poles? Is there a plan or proposal to protect San Jose Boulevard?
Nina, you're shaking your head. Go ahead, talk about that.
So just to begin with, San Jose Boulevard is an FDOT road. So the city doesn't actually maintain or make policy on San Jose Boulevard. But from what I've seen, there is not a plan to put protected bike lanes. Now, if you look in the Mandarin area, they did put those areas of bike lanes that have the green paint on it that help to make it more visible. So there may be initiatives like that they may take up, but there's only so much footprint, so much room on the roadway, and so in order to put an appropriately protected bike lane, there doesn't appear to be room to do that. But again, hopefully they'll continue those initiatives of making those bike lanes more visible.
So this is another issue, and I'm glad Nina brought up that there are so many roads in our city that we don't own, right? They're state roads, and so we don't have any say over that. I will say to you that I am a big fan of protected bike lanes. and wherever we can and have the ability to put them in, especially on those high trafficked areas for bikes. I really want to do that, and so we're increasingly looking at how we can do more protected bike lanes.
All right, thank you.
I've got too many friends who've taken spills on their bicycles, right, Carolyn? We need protected bike lanes. I'm not coordinated enough to do that, so I'm not gonna put myself in that position. But I appreciate when other people do. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Rachel.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi. My zip code is 32246, and I've moved to Jacksonville like 2 years ago. So
Where did you move from?
Oh, a couple places. So I originally from New York. I lived there for 12 years.
Wonderful.
And then Connecticut, North Carolina,
Wow.
Louisiana. Where else? I'm missing a couple. But
So are you going to stay now, or are you just
Yeah.
going to? Okay, good. You're going to plant
This is
roots.
home.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Okay, good.
But okay, so I know that like you just did a child care initiative, which is really exciting. I'm very excited to see how that works, and that was like one of my biggest thing. But also, I'm from Haiti, so I came here 2010, so after the earthquake, so 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know there's like a growing Haitian American and Haitian population in Jacksonville. So I was curious if you are going to have a advisory board for Haitian Americans' voices in here, because we're here and we want to be safe and we want to be able to contribute to the growing economy of Jacksonville, and we want to be able to have access, language access. Just so that's like really my ask.
Well, I would love for you to if you have contact information that you could leave with somebody on my staff, I would really appreciate that. I'd love to meet with you. I don't know what the criteria is in terms of what we would. I know we have one of the most diverse cities in the nation. We have a lot of people that are here from elsewhere, and we love that. It's what makes us. I call our city a great mosaic, and I love that. But I don't know what the Haitian population is, or if that is something that we could do, but I will tell you that I will meet with you and we can talk about that.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a survey, and I was seeing that it was 7,000. Like it might be more from the city, just from city data, but I know that we're here, and so.
Well, we certainly always want to hear every voice that we can hear. So I would love for you to give your card to Melissa or somebody that's here, and let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love all these young people moving here. That's what we want. That's fantastic. Yes, who's over here? Here we go. Hi.
It's me again. You're doing great.
Okay.
So I wanted to follow up on the 3 a.m. alcohol serving extension. That's another one that kind of really concerns me and then reading about it seems like it's all about revenue. But again, I get back to public safety. So how can that be a good thing?
Well, it's about what an urban downtown lifestyle would involve.
3 a.m.
You have to have an entertainment. You have to have an entertainment area in your city.
Let's go to Vegas then.
No, it's not Vegas, and it's not going to be Vegas. But I do think I disagree. I do. I'm not saying there will never be a problem in the world, but I do think that it's reasonable in the area that has and that will continue to have more of the city's nightlife to have an extended period of time where they can stay open.
Right,
so, yeah. That's okay. I mean, I'm happy, and I get it. I know that's why I initially didn't weigh in on it until I took a good look at it and talked to a lot of different people. But I do think that it makes sense if you're going to have an area of town to have an extended closing time. It would be downtown where you have the nightlife, which is what we certainly are hoping to have more of down there. So, yes, who's over here? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Patrick. I'm also Haitian. Hi.
Very good. And you want a Haitian advisory? No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead, Patrick.
I heard a lot of people talking about traffic and all that kind of stuff going on in downtown Jacksonville. and I've been a fleet manager for Bird, the scooter company,
Oh,
for
okay.
like 5 years. So I think it's a great option on when it comes to like traffic and accident and all that kind of stuff. I want to know if you have any plan to continue the scooter business in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
especially I've heard a lot of people asking me for electric bike instead of scooter, older people mostly. But if you have any plan on doing that, I want to know if you have
Well,
something.
certainly the scooters are expanding in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
It's another topic that we talked about today. They're going to be going down further into Riverside, out by the museum. And they're also going to be going into Arlington.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be an expansion of. Yes, I know. I found that out today. I hope that's not proprietary information, but that is what I found out today. So people do seem to really like them. I do think there are some scary things about them for me because obviously because we have to coexist with the traffic that's out there. But obviously they're not on the roads as much as they're on the sidewalks. But they don't frighten me as much as the electric bicycles do. I've been almost mowed over by those many times, but.
We have a speed limit of 15 miles an hour, which is pretty safe for everybody.
Yes, and everyone does that.
Yeah, but I feel like it's especially when there's like a big game in the stadium.
No, it makes perfect sense. I agree with you. I agree with you. It makes sense. As long as everybody follows the rules, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you're doing in Jacksonville.
Thank you, and thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Okay, go right ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Richard Cuff.
Hey, Richard. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I'm in 32218. I want to say, first of all, thank you for coming here. It's been almost 10 years since I've been in this auditorium. Both my son and my daughter graduated from Douglas Anderson. Unfortunately, my wife passed away 4.5 years ago, so I'm really feeling it right now because I can't tell you how many times we sat in this space. And I could probably point to all the different seats we've sat in over the years. I came here specifically because I had a meeting and ironically pitched our music program. We have the program that teaches 3- and 4-year-olds to play violin in preschool. You know my story. But it was an organization that gets funding from Kids Hope Alliance, which many are, some $50 million you all are putting out there. I pitched our program, said the cost. The only way I can do my program is that I had to agree to do it for free, and they are receiving funds because they're telling me they don't have the funds to do it. I will do it for free because I don't want to see another child miss the opportunity to get an early childhood education at the quality that we're providing it. But my wife and I funded this for 20 years, and I've never asked for a dime. In fact, I just applied for a grant from Councilman Gaffney's fund. And I walk in and ironically, the two things that I've been advocating for are investment, infrastructure spending, investments in infrastructure, and underserved neighborhoods. I just would like for you to erase the word underserved and replace it with under-resourced.
Under-resourced, that's right.
Okay, so please, if we can.
It's a great point, and I'd actually, we did change it for a while, and I don't know why we went back to it. I think it's a word we just throw in there and use, and we shouldn't. You're right.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Because if we say under-resourced, then I can pitch it this way.
It is under-resourced, you're right.
For every dollar that's invested in children, early childhood, there's a $14 to $16 return. You put $1 million at 4 years old, you're going to get $16 million back. If you don't, because we have 120,000 children under the age of 9 and 62,000 under the age of 5, we're going to see more teen takeovers. And the challenge is, Abraham Maslow said, it's tempting that when the only tool in your belt is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And for the city, the only tool that you seem to have is money. So everything seems to be a budget issue, more money or less money. The police department, their only tool is the gun on their belt. So when we have a problem with our children, we address it with crime. no one is addressing it from an under-resourced, we need to put more money into that community. And I appreciate you putting the underserved, under-resourced communities on the list, but I'm tired. That's all I can say. And I really want to stop coming to this microphone and being pointed back over to the Kids Hope Alliance or somebody, and then the CEO gets fired and I got to start all over again.
I appreciate everything that you just said. And I know that you have been at my meetings before, as I don't know if we have your information, but I would love to figure out a way to help.
I'd appreciate it. I think, personally, I moved to Jacksonville in 1990. The South Side was sand dunes and cow pastures, and Jacksonville didn't begin until you got to Emerson Road. When you came to Emerson, you come around the corner and you see the Independent Life Building.
That's right.
And you were in Jacksonville. I watched it grow from the Better Jacksonville plan and watched 295 connect all the way around from the Danes Point Bridge. And I am excited about what the future looks like. I just want to say, please bring our children along and don't forget them.
I appreciate that, Richard. Thank you so much. Will you make sure that one of us has your contact info before you go? Is that everybody? Okay. Well, I so appreciate you all coming tonight and hearing from your fellow citizens. I hope you heard something that was helpful. I think what you at the very least heard was a lot of passionate people who want to make their city better, and that is always like a huge vitamin for me. I really truly believe that most people want to engage with their leaders and their government, and we just got to make it easier. You know, we got to make it easier and more accessible and not less. Because it's so important. I get so frustrated when I see how few people in this community and so many communities actually go out and exercise their rights to vote. You know, it's so important that your voice is heard and that you engage in your community, because you're the only ones that can change it and make it better. And I would highly suggest that you continue to engage. So thank you so much. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.